Hey, you guys, it is Key Talk Tuesday with yours truly, Coach Amber J. Another episode with yours truly. I am your host, Coach Amber J., a life coach, CEO life coach, wardrobe expert, author, speaker, and I am excited to be here this morning. This is your podcast here where we're all about unlocking the keys to a successful work-life balance so that you can have more fulfillment without burnout while doing it in style. And today we are here to real conversations, have real conversations and really unlock some keys so that you can live in your full potential. If you guys were here last week, we talked about the keys to forgiveness. And I just kind of want to recap that of what the keys were. And I hope you guys were here last week. I hope that you guys are getting good information, good content. I hope that there's value being brought into your life that you can apply immediately, because that is the key, is immediate keys that you can implement today, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Something that will shift your mind, shift your perspective, and that you can put into action immediately. Okay. So the keys to forgiveness, it was 4 keys. Number one was knowledge, understanding the impact of not of holding on to resentment. Number two was empathy, putting yourself in other people's shoes. Three, yield, learning to just take a pause and step back and letting go of grudges to heal. And then S is support, surrounding yourself around positive people. And then the last is really just implementing those so that you can be able to walk in forgiveness. And I don't know why I'm like here on this subject on forgiveness, but for whatever reason, it's in my spirit to continue this conversation. And this weekend, I actually was able to really feel that feeling of what forgiveness looks like and whole, dealing with that. It was my 1 year. I don't know if this is an anniversary or a celebration of my heartbreak and overcoming it, and what I actually did to overcome that experience. Because a year ago, I did not feel this way. I did not feel like I was going to make it. I didn't feel like I was okay. I was devastated. And so these are the real things that I use to help pull me out of that depression, that defeated place. And so I guess I want to share this because this is a journey that I have been on in this year. And I think that a lot of times we're not having these conversations, but we're going through things that are silencing us. We're going through things that have taken our voice away, taken our power away, taken our confidence away. And so my goal in returning to Key Talk is to be able to have a space where we're having real conversations, where you're really coming in, tuning in every week and getting valuable information that you can implement immediately to really transform your life. And so that's really what this is about. And last week I was having a conversation about or actually I did a workshop on nourishing the soul through forgiveness. And so today I want to talk about nourishing your soul through forgiveness. And last week we talked about the gift of forgiveness, what forgiveness is, how to implement it. And this week I want to talk about nourishing your soul through forgiveness. So, to understand the importance of nourishing oneself and the role of forgiveness is personal growth and emotional well-being. The purpose of forgiveness in nourishing your soul is to understand the role of forgiveness and the personal growth and in emotional well-being. So, your emotional well-being plays such an impact on how you endure and impact every single day, how you're dealing with things every single day, right? Um, so number one, nourish your soul. The first one is in nourish your soul. Um, Take a minute every day of self care. This could be through meditating, reading, or simply spending time in nature. So, the first thing, and this is just even my process over this year, like I had to take a moment to really just nourish myself and really deal with me. I had to sit in the pain, I had to feel it, I had to experience all of those things. I had to be accountable for a part of the part that I played in allowing myself to go through that situation and how I did that was allowing me to really nourish myself in that and sit in those experiences and really take a moment to reflect, like, how did I get to this place? How did I um how did I how did I allow this to happen to me, right? And this is one thing that I wanted to talk about that I didn't really talk about. And if some of you guys see my post, I shared it. Um, one of the things nourishing my soul, or sorry, one of the things that I realized in my the experience of my heartbreak is the part that I played in it. And a lot of times we don't take accountability for our part in what happened. And so for me, the reason I felt the most defeated and disappointed and betrayed was because I have been on a journey of healing for a very long time. And so this time allowing someone into my life and into my space and to allow myself to love and be loved was all very intentional. And so the betrayal for me was what really broke my heart. It wasn't really someone leaving me, right? Or us separating. It was the betrayal of, listen, I've been intentional. I've been very vulnerable. I've been very vocal. I've been very intentional about what I expected or what I desired and what I needed. And the part that hurt the most is that you knew these things and you mishandled them and you mishandled me in my heart. And so what made me more angry is, like, I did all this work for years to heal my heart and to be okay, and then finally open my heart and allow you into this space to be able to mishandle me. And that was the part that was most disappointing. I think that was the part that was most heartbreaking for me, is because this was all intentional. And no one talks about years of healing and then being feeling healthy and in a relationship and intentional about being in a relationship to get betrayed. And that was the part that was the most hurtful for me. And so, nourishing my soul, I had to really acknowledge those things and identify those things. And in doing that, these are the actions that I took when taking the time to do self care, right? To really love on myself, to sit still, to allow myself to read a book. To allow myself to go on hikes. If you guys follow me, you know that I love hiking. I love being in nature. I love being outside in nature. So that was something that I did for myself to nourish my soul back, was to really allow myself to take care of me, and not on just a materialistic way, right? Really nourishing my soul. And so I want to share with nourishing your soul, take action. One of these action tips is do self care, do something that doesn't cost you anything but some of your time. Maybe 5 minutes of mirror time, maybe 5 minutes of meditating or praying or reading. All of those things are things of self care. The next thing that I did on this journey of nourishing my soul through forgiveness was seeking joy. I think I've shared a couple of episodes. Not never in my life have I knowingly understood or experienced depression. And in this state, this last year, I experienced depression. And one of the things that I really wanted was, like, I want to feel joy again. I want to be joyful again. I want to have my joy back. And so nourishing my soul was seeking joy, seeking moments of joyful moments that I can tangibly touch, right? So some of the things that bring me joy is to ride in the car with loud music and dance and have a whole concert to myself. That brings me joy. So was intentional every single day to find something that brought me a joyful moment. And I held on to that for those moments because I needed something, right? So that was something that I did to nourish my soul through seeking joy. So one of the action tips I want to share with you is every day find something that brings you joy. And I want to explain the difference between joy and happiness, because a lot of people are like, I'm on this, I'm seeking happy. I want to be happy. Happy is a feeling. And if we know what feelings are fleeting. I can be happy one moment, I could be sad another, but joy is a constant presence. It's a peace. It's internal. It's the Holy Spirit within you, right? And that is the joy that no one can take that away from you. No feelings, no outward experiences or circumstances can take that. And so if you're on a journey to seek joy, it's something non-tangible that you create, that no one else can create for you and nobody else can take it from you. The next one I want to talk about with nourishing your soul through forgiveness is surrender to forgiveness. I shared last week, forgiveness is a choice, it's a gift, right? In order for me to feel the joy that I want to feel, in order for me to receive love again, in order for me to have peace and happiness, I have to be willing to give something away, right? And so the gift that I give is the anger, the resentment, the betrayal, the hurt, because in exchange, I can now receive the things that I truly desire, which is love, right? Which is happiness, which is joy and peace and freedom. And forgiveness, allowing yourself to be able to forgive, allows you to live in a state of freedom, right? You're not having these internal battles of fighting yourself and angry. In the beginning, when this heartbreak broke happened, I was angry and I kept going back and forth with myself, like, how did I let this happen? Am I not good enough? Like, all of these questions and doubts and anger and frustrations was resonating within me because I was holding on to, like, you hurt me, you betrayed me, you did this to me. Right? These are the conversations that I was having with myself. Like, you did this. I can't believe I opened my heart up to you, okay? And you hurt me. You mishandled me. I'm laughing at this now, but this is my real dialogue a year ago that I had to endure. And hopefully I'm not alone in this. Make sure y'all drop some comments. Let me know that this is not just the Amber experience. If you can relate, definitely let me know. And if you guys want to share an experience of something that you endured, I would love to hear that as well. If you guys are here in the Nevada incubator, I would love to have you here. I want to open this space up for questions. If anyone wants to ask a question, I would love to hear some feedback on this. Did you want to ask a question? Okay.
We'll read some comments and questions from your IG.
Oh, really? Okay, awesome. Thank you. So yeah, so hopefully I'm not in this heartbreak alone. And I don't share, or in the past, I had not shared a lot of my experiences. And I've endured many, 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 many constant trials in my life. But I decided as I was taking back my power and living through this forgiveness and nourishing my soul through forgiveness, that I wanted to be able to share my story and be able to share from a place of vulnerability, truth, and honesty so that somebody else can be free. Because I don't believe I'm in this alone. And I don't believe that this is just happening to me. Maybe mine is heartbreak. Maybe yours is something else, right? But what do we do? How do we get back? How do we reclaim our own power and our own authenticity if we're not being honest and truthful with ourselves, and then sharing it with someone else so that they have the keys to lock some doors and then unlock some doors for themselves?
So we have some comments on Instagram. We have one
Okay.
from Jay Natural. He's saying what's up, but he's also saying it's great that you can laugh at it now. And he also asks, I didn't know how to treat myself and cheated myself.
Yeah, most of the time we do. We settle for less, especially when we don't really know ourselves. We settle for less, and we have to we have to put ourselves first. I think we were raised in a society where putting ourselves first is selfish. And reality is, if you don't love you first, if you don't know you first, if you don't take care of you first, then we teach people how to treat us. And if we're not treating ourselves as priority, then other people won't either. So treat yourself well so other people will pour into you as well. Thank you, Jay Natrell. Also, he has a show tomorrow, y'all. Check him out. Um, but lastly, I want to get back to surrender to forgiveness. And how does holding on to grudges affect your emotional well being? What do you feel when you think about forgiving someone? And so last week, I really shared with you holding on to unforgiveness doesn't allow you to really have compassion for other people or even yourself, to empathize with people, to be able to engage with people and build real relationships. I hear people all the time saying, like, I don't trust people. The reality is, you don't trust people because you don't trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, it's hard to trust other people, right? It's hard to set boundaries, right? Because you're like, if I let you in my circle, you're going to betray me. Well, you can come into my circle, but you can also exit, because that's what boundary says. Boundary says is like, listen, this is a wall. If you cross it, you got to go. But because I want you in my space, I'm going to give you permission to be in my space, because I trust that I'm going to make good decisions with me, right? And when something is not comfortable, I'm going to vocalize it. I'm going to share. And if you don't respect it, then I'm going to put you where you belong, which will be out of my circle, right? And so I think when you learn to really surrender to forgiveness, you allow yourself to feel the good feelings, and also allow yourself to see yourself from a different perspective as well. A lot of times we see ourselves from the hurt, right? When I started last year with, how did he do this to me? How could he, like, I gave my value away to somebody, right? I put my value, my prize, my possessions, me into someone else's hand, which should have never been the case, right? When you know, like, I'm not the problem. Like, I know that I was honest, transparent, intentional with dealing with you, and you didn't handle me properly. So I'm taking that power back, instead of saying, you did this to me, it's your fault. No, I allowed this to happen. So let me own my part in this and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Right. And so when things started to go left, I made a decision like, listen, you're not operating the way that I want this to operate. So I'm going to remove myself, because this hurts too bad. You don't want what I want. I'm moving myself because this is what I desire. And if you can't give me that, I have to be strong enough to walk away from it, because now it's causing me pain. Some of us stay in that pain, and we hope that one day a person will change. People won't. You can't make anyone change. All you can do is change how you operate in that situation. And for me, walking away was better than to stay, because you couldn't handle me. You didn't handle me properly. You didn't want the same things that I wanted, and I had to make a decision that I love me enough that I don't want to stay in this, right? um and that shifted my perspective, because instead of why did this happen to me, right, it's why now this happened for me, right? If I this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be able to share it from a place of this happened for me. And I am so grateful. Listen, I am so grateful that I experienced that, because now I know what I really want. Like, I was willing to settle for that. And now I'm like, oh baby girl, like, no, no, no. You don't have to settle. Like, you can have everything that you desire, but I'm grateful you came into my atmosphere, because I realize now what I don't want. Right? I realize now that I can have a glimpse of this, but even better, right? And the more that you forgive, the more that you nourish your soul, the more that you love on yourself and take care of yourself, the more you can require the things that you desire, because you know what you want. You know what you need, right? I know my weaknesses, I know my strengths, I know my value, I know what I bring to the table, I know what my boundaries are, and I know what I'm going to put up with or not. And at this point, I would rather be alone than to settle for someone and try to force them to love me, because I love me too much. And if you don't add that love to me, then you're taken away, and I can't afford that, right? I can't afford that. If I have to say no to me to say yes to you, it's too expensive. I can't afford it. So,
Jane Natural is asking, how long did you allow yourself to wallow in that space before you pick yourself up?
who, like a whole year? It was literally a whole year. I want to say, oh my God. Um, yeah, it was probably about a year. I think the end of literally probably until like January, March of this year. And I was like, you know what? I'm making a decision. Yes, he broke your heart. It's okay. Yes, you don't feel good. But I want to say like a year or at least 9 months. But it wasn't until I made a decision. And I made a decision that, yeah, that situation happened. But I don't want to feel like that. And I don't want to miss out on the next opportunity because I'm wallowing in the hurt of what happened to me. So it was a good 9 months for sure. Yeah, for a minute. Um, Good question. Thank you. So yeah, that brings me to the conclusion of nourishing your soul through forgiveness. Nourishing your soul is a vital part of maintaining emotional health. By nourishing yourself, seeking joy, and practicing forgiveness, you create a more balanced and fulfilling life. Remember, forgiveness is not just about others. It's also about freeing yourself from past burdens. It's really forgiveness, you guys, is really not about the other person. A lot of times people are walking around projecting, throwing things at you, and we're catching them, right? Decide you're no longer the catcher. Decide you want to be the batter. Like, I'm batting that off. Like, those are your feelings. Those are your emotions. Those are your experiences. And even with the heartbreak, I realized that some people couldn't like he wasn't able to receive the love that I had for him, right? He wasn't in the space to receive what I had, right? He didn't have the capacity for me, and that's okay. I couldn't stay there though, right? And so I think sometimes we're trying to shrink into spaces that are not for us. And we have to know when our time is up and be okay with that and appreciate the experience and move accordingly. So I hope this was good for you guys. Make sure that you are practicing nourishing your soul through forgiveness. Seek joy every single day. Take time to really love on yourself. Do the things that are necessary. Put you first. Prioritize yourself. Listen, if you have to say no to you to say yes to somebody else, you can't afford to do it. So until next week, you guys, stay tuned. Make sure and come down to Nevada Partners and be a live audience. I would love to have this real dialogue in person. It would be phenomenal. But until next week, you guys see me next week. Also, a couple of things. Tomorrow there is a show happening. Make sure you check out on my flyer Wednesday at the theater. I don't have all the details off mine, but Jay Natural will be performing, so go check him out. Also, the Becoming Her is now released, you guys. If you guys want to take this journey with me and really get the tools and the work and be in a space and a community of other like-minded individuals that are on this journey of becoming the greatest version of themselves, then make sure you click the link and order or book and hold a space to register so that you can go on this 4-week journey. It is time to invest in you. And if you're not willing to invest in you, don't expect other people to. So until next week, I love you guys. Have an amazing week and just forgive. Forgive yourself first.